More details on the WrestleMania 40 plans involving the WWE Undisputed Universal Champion Roman Reigns, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Cody Rhodes, and the World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins. Did The Rock politic his way into the WrestleMania 40 main event? Plenty of details on that. Plus, WWE has officially announced this coming Thursday, Roman Reigns will face off against The Rock at a WrestleMania 40 press conference. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. We've got so many more details on the WrestleMania 40 plans that seemingly have been changed when it comes to the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, The Rock, and Seth freaking Rollins. Now, as you saw with the finish of last night's Friday Night SmackDown, unless there is yet another major change in plans, Cody Rhodes will not be, quote, finishing the story at WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That comes from Mike Johnson from PW Insider. Now, it continues the report from Mike Johnson of PW Insider that numerous WWE sources have concurred that the decision to go with The Rock versus Roman Reigns Mania weekend, expected to be officially announced this Thursday in Las Vegas for the Philadelphia main event, was a push by The Rock to move into the WrestleMania main event, backed by top TKO group holding executives. Now, while WWE had been expertly building to a Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns rematch, some sources, according to PW Insider, believe it was done by Johnson to, as one source stated, quote, save WrestleMania, end quote, after CM Punk and Brock Lesnar, for very different reasons, were taken off the board from the biggest weekend of the year. Now, others, according to PW Insider, believe that Rock pushed for the move and likely would have no matter what, given his massive $30 million stock payday is, in part, contingent on him hitting certain milestones. Sources familiar with the situation believe one of those milestones was Johnson returning to the ring this year, and that Johnson pushed for the match to happen sooner rather than later, with the idea he felt Reigns versus The Rock was the far bigger attraction for the company. So, it is very possible that no matter who was injured or not, Cody versus Reigns would have not taken place because The Rock was back in the game and the most important members of the company management were going to acquiesce to Dwayne Johnson's ideas. With Johnson's power as a member of the TKO board of directors, his Hollywood standing, and the backing of Ari Emanuel, Nick Khan, and others, the decision was made to go with Rock versus Reigns as the headline bout, believing it would be a greater attraction for the mainstream and also help push some positive momentum for the company. Now, one source, according to Mike Johnson from PW Insider, compared it to Johnson's attempts to take over all of the overall creative for the DC film franchise, noting that he came in originally as an actor to portray Black Adam, but by the time the process was done, had changed the original trajectory for the plans from playing the opposition to Shazam, instead pushing that Adam should have his own film so he could eventually be set up to face Superman instead, and even went over heads of executives to their superiors to get his ideas approved. Now, Johnson's long game was to gain control of the entire DC film franchise, only to lose that attempt when Warner Bros. Discovery gave that power instead to James Gunn and Peter Safran. But in WWE, there isn't going to be anyone that's not going to at least consider Dwayne Johnson's ideas. He's The Rock, and he has a big history of selling tickets and merchandise and movies, and at the end of the day, WrestleMania is about spectacle, and The Rock equals spectacle. Now, PW Insider is told this wasn't done to target and politic Cody out of his main events out of malice, but out of the belief that Johnson was the best idea to make money now and respect his new position with the company's parent company. This was a strategic move to give Johnson more political power overall and to show Endeavor's faith in his involvement, and that even Paul Triple H Levesque, who has done an admirable job as chief creative officer, would, quote, lose that power struggle with Johnson at this point, end quote, one source surmised. Now, one source confirmed to PW Insider that former Senior Vice President of Development at Johnson's Seven Bucks Productions, Brian Gewirtz, will be in the mix as the voice representing Johnson in the WWE creative process going forward. There are some who believe Gewurz, who at one point was the longest tenured WWE head writer, will be around physically for at least major shows going forward, could even be there as a, quote, plan B if Endeavor ever needs to pivot WWE's direction and go with a Johnson-backed creative team down the line, essentially suggesting, if indeed, with all of these Vince McMahon allegations and the lawsuit that has been filed against him, if things get really bad and TKO really need to clean house and remove a lot of people that are currently in the company, i.e. Triple H and others, Brian Gewurz could be a new creative officer for WWE with a Dwayne Johnson-backed creative team in the future, if indeed that was going to happen. Now, one WWE talent privately wondered to PW Insider this morning if perhaps Johnson was going to be the plan all along, but he hadn't committed until late in the game, which made them wonder where CM Punk would have been positioned if he hadn't torn his tricep, and whether that injury prevented Punk from learning he too would have lost that WrestleMania main event slot. Now, there's no way to ever know that, but it was something that has to be pondered given how quickly WWE turned the WrestleMania creative direction for Johnson. As far as the future for Cody Rhodes, the current plan, according to PW Insider, is for him to face Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 40. A direction change that a lot of readers that people have heard from resent, given that he's been pushing to finish his story all year, that finishing that story was in reach after the Royal Rumble win, and that even the WWE 2K24 video game, which Cody Rhodes is on the cover of, is themed in part around fans finishing their own story. For Rhodes as a character to then have that moment in reach and not choose Reigns for WrestleMania is as silly as, I guess, people thinking that, Mike Johnson theorizes it here, Han Solo throwing away the keys to the Millennium Falcon and just leaving it behind. Beating Seth Rollins for a title doesn't end Rhodes' story, especially since he's publicly stated that he needs to win the title his father held and had taken away for that story to end. And the lineage of that bout is carried by Paul Heyman to the ring for Roman Reigns in 2024. Cody Rhodes even said that himself last night on SmackDown. Now, Mike Johnson says he doesn't think anyone, especially privately, would deny that within WWE, forces beyond Rhodes' control change the board game. And that's the reality of the new WWE. The old rules don't matter, and Endeavor is going to do what they believe will maximize their business, and their choices may indeed prove to be correct, even if they are unpopular with the audience that has been ravenously following Cody Rhodes and supporting him the last several years. The reality, according to Johnson, is this. While the story was primed to climax at WrestleMania 40, there were already some in the company talking openly about the idea of Cody Rhodes winning the World Heavyweight Championship and then challenging the winner of Roman versus The Rock at SummerSlam in a title unification bout, so Cody could finally, really, we promise this time, finish the story. And that sounds nice in theory, but given there is a young audience currently in love with WWE, and Rhodes in particular, not giving them what they want, a Rhodes versus Reigns showdown that has been all but promised for a year is quite the creative choice and leap, and one that could prove to be the moment where WWE disenfranchises some of their fans. For all the things that have upset fans in the last week, rightfully so, about the company, none of the complaints were about the storylines, but overnight that has changed drastically. Of course, people are pointing to the fact that it wasn't that long ago that WWE fans in Philadelphia, of course, where they're going to be for WrestleMania, rejected a Roman Reigns Rumble victory because they wanted Daniel Bryan. Who was in the ring with Roman Reigns that night? The Rock. The Rock made a surprise return to endorse him, but Philly booed what was forced upon them. Now in 2024, WWE has primed Cody Rhodes and instead will walk back into Philadelphia with Rock versus Roman. Under any other circumstance, that's a spectacle and attraction that most fans would celebrate. But in this instance, WWE may have booked themselves into the one scenario where fans don't want it because they wanted WWE to finish the story they had already expertly written. In 2014, WWE found themselves in a bind. When CM Punk walked out of the company, they had no choice but to go with Daniel Bryan, who the audience badly wanted to be the main eventer that year. And it led to some great moments at WrestleMania 30 when the company just embraced what the audience wanted. This year, the company, according to Johnson, has done quite the opposite. They had the hero the audience wanted to embrace and then removed him from that great moment that the audience wanted. Whether they will attempt to rectify that for the fans that are let down this morning, this afternoon, this evening, depending on when you're watching this video, possibly by reconfiguring plans again to maneuver Cody back into the mix with Rock and Reigns, or just stay the course they've now laid out, remains to be seen. But three things, according to Mike Johnson, are obvious. One, this may prove to make Cody the modern-day equivalent of Daniel Bryan in 2014, a star that the audience mobilizes for and gets behind because they are so sympathetic for him. Two, for a portion of the WWE audience today, it doesn't matter what The Rock's name is. To them, based on the overnight reaction, if the name isn't Cody, it's not going to matter because that's not the story that they want to see. Three, to another portion of the audience, it will matter that Dwayne Johnson is the main eventer because it's The Rock. That's what Endeavor and The Rock are counting on. That Johnson's star power will empower the company to the biggest WrestleMania of all time. Once more, what happens behind the scenes is going to be just as suspenseful as anything that plays out inside the squared circle. So we'll have to wait and see how this specific story is finished and if it leads to Cody Rhodes finishing his story after all. So what are your thoughts on the big developments there? That indeed it's going to be Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins for WrestleMania. It's going to be The Rock versus Roman Reigns, and that Johnson, albeit maybe not maliciously, did kind of politic his power into making sure this match did happen based on a variety of different factors. He's on the board of directors. He's in for a big windfall if he hits certain targets. That would include him wrestling a match. In addition to that, all of the negative publicity that's happened, that may have changed the course when it comes to WWE. Endeavor may be positioning themselves to actually give Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson a lot of power over WWE, particularly when it comes to allegations against Vince McMahon that people within the company that are still there may have actually known about and could be found out about in the near future. What are your thoughts and reactions to all of that? Let me know in the comment section below. Now, WWE today announced essentially that we're going to find out more about what's happening with The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania in just a few days' time. Now, WWE announced that The Rock and Roman Reigns will be present at the WrestleMania 40 kickoff press conference on Thursday, February 8th. Now, fans will hear from The Rock, Roman Reigns, and Triple H at the press conference. This is what WWE has said. The Rock and Roman Reigns set for an iconic face-off at the WrestleMania XL kickoff. WWE, part of TKO Group Holdings, today announced that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Roman Reigns will face off and open to the public fan and media event WrestleMania 40 Kickoff live from T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas this Thursday, February 8th at 4 p.m. Pacific. Now, doors open at 2:30 p.m. This is a non-ticketed event delivered by Pizza Hut and is free for all to attend. Fans and media will hear from both The Rock and Roman Reigns, as well as the WWE Chief Content Officer Paul Triple H Levesque. On-site interview opportunities for media will immediately follow the event with both participants, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley. Building on the anticipation for the already record-breaking WrestleMania 40, Thursday's event will be hosted by Monday Night Raw commentators Michael Cole and Pat McAfee and stream live on WWE social, digital channels, as well as Peacock. So certainly they're promising big stuff for this press conference that's going to be taking place in Las Vegas on Thursday. In addition to that, Triple H himself, who many have criticized for having The Rock face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania instead of Cody Rhodes, has tweeted, he has said, quote, "WWE Universe, see you in Vegas." So what's your thoughts and reaction to the press conference? What's your thought and reaction to the news that we are getting today, that it's going to be The Rock versus Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins, and Dwayne Johnson may have leveraged some power to make sure that all of this happened? Let me know your thoughts as always in the comment section below. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.